The great Leonardo da Vinci had said, "Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skywards. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return." Modern fighter jets like the F-35 are engineering marvels. They are sleek, fast, and built to dominate the skies. Their designs are a testament to humanity's ingenuity. But have you ever noticed how much they resemble animals? The streamlined bodies and razor-sharp wings make it seem as if nature itself whispered the blueprint for flight into our ears. And honestly, that's not far from the truth. Engineers often look to birds, bats, and other flying creatures when designing an aircraft, because evolution has already perfected so many aspects of flight. But millions of years before humans even dreamed of building jets, there were always animals that didn't just resemble fighter planes, they also rivaled them in size and capability. Imagine a creature with a wingspan wider than a school bus, soaring effortlessly above a world filled with dinosaurs, which is a pretty amazing feat. But surprisingly though, this is not science fiction, it's prehistory. These creatures, known as pterosaurs, were the ultimate rulers of the skies. They could fly faster, further, and higher than most animals today. Some of them even had features that rivaled modern aircrafts. Firstly, pterodactyls, pterosaurs, and all those fancy names can get pretty confusing. But simply put, pterosaurs are the big umbrella category. Just think of it like saying birds. It covers everything from sparrows to eagles. Underneath that umbrella, there are two main groups. The Rampahindroids were the earliest members of the lineage. They had long tails, small heads, and teeth perfect for grabbing fish. In technical terms, they were kind of like the beta testers of flight. Then came the pterodactyloids, the upgraded version. These guys ditched their long tails, grew bigger heads, and even lost their teeth entirely, evolving into sleeker, more efficient flyers. Pterosaurs were not your average birds or bats. We're talking about a creature so massive they would make modern eagles and condors look like tiny sparrows. And trust me, once you hear more about these guys, you'll never look at flying animals the same way again. One of the most interesting species was the Quetzalcoatlus northropy, the undisputed champion of the Cretaceous era skies. Imagine a creature with a wingspan of about 10 meters. If you spread its wings out, it could probably cover an entire basketball court. We think it was basically the size of a small airplane. However, it wasn't just big for the sake of being big. This guy was built for long distance travel. Picture it soaring over vast prehistoric landscapes, scanning the grounds below for food. It probably ate small dinosaurs, fish, or even carrion, basically anything it could snatch with its sharp beaks. Now, if you thought it was impressive, meet the Cryodrakon boreas, another giant pterosaur discovered in Canada. Cryodrakon had a similar wingspan to its previous cousin, but what makes it so special is how recently it was discovered. Until this day, we are still piecing together its story. But early findings suggest it might have adapted to colder climates. And they too didn't just rely on size for survival. Their bodies were perfectly engineered for flight. They had these crazy long necks that helped them spot prey from miles away. But what made it so special was their wings. They weren't feathers like birds, but more like leathery membranes stretched between their elongated fourth finger and hind legs. This gave them incredible control in the air, almost like having built-in rudders. Before we continue, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. It goes a long way, and consider buying a coffee if you want. Anyways, let's continue on with the video. The world of pterosaurs is far from fully uncovered, and we are still digging up new fossils every day. In November 2024, paleontologists identified fossils of Scyphosaura bavarica in Germany. Because of that, we now have fresh insights into how pterosaurs evolved. And despite not being the biggest, its unique features tells us about how pterosaurs adapted to different environments, like having specialized wings for gliding over forests or hunting near rivers. The exact details are still being studied, but discoveries like this remind us that there's always more to learn. And then there's the Nymphenotyrus, a pterosaur discovered in Japan also in 2024. What's cool about this bird is that it adds to the global picture of pterosaur distribution. These creatures weren't just hanging out in one part of the world, they were everywhere during the late Cretaceous. From North America to early Europe, they dominated the skies across continents. Without a doubt, this discovery shows just how widespread and diverse these animals were. It's like nature's way of saying, hey, don't forget about me, I was here too. At the end of the day, finding these fossils isn't easy. Imagine paleontologists spending months or even years digging through dirt and rock, hoping to uncover a single bone. And when they finally find something, it's better than striking gold. The odds of being fossilized in the first place is 1 of 10 of 10%. Imagine some of these fossils are so delicate that they need to be carefully cleaned and reconstructed inside labs. Modern technology like CT scans and 3D modeling has made it easier to study these ancient bones without damaging them at all. It's kind of like solving a mystery from millions of years ago. Now, it's time to get into the real magic. How did they actually fly? Because let's be honest, a 10-meter wingspan sounds cool, but how does something that big even get off the ground? And once it's up there, how did it stay airborne? First things first, pterosaurs didn't just slap their wings and hope for the best. Their flight was a masterpiece of evolution, combining incredible anatomy with some seriously clever techniques. Unlike birds which have feathers, pterosaurs had these massive skin membranes stretched between their elongated fourth fingers. Think of it like a super thin flexible kite. These membranes were reinforced with tiny fibers called actinofibrils, which gave them strength and flexibility. So not only could they catch the wind, but they could also adjust their shape mid-flight for better control. It's like having built-in spoilers or flaps, just like on a fighter jet. And even with all things said, things get even cooler. Pterosaurs didn't rely on brute force to take off, they used something called a quadrupedal launch. Instead of running and jumping like a bird, these guys would crouch down, pushing off all four limbs, and boom, they'd go rocket into the air. With the data we have, we estimate that Quetzalcoatlus could generate enough power to leap over 2.5 meters into the air in a single motion. That's like jumping from the ground straight onto the roof of a house. Once they were airborne, their massive wingspans allowed them to soar for miles without flapping much at all. They were basically the ultimate gliders, riding thermal currents like modern eagles or even better. Their hollow bones made them incredibly lightweight without sacrificing strength. And on top of that, they had advanced respiratory systems. With air sacs similar to those found in birds today, these air sacs helped them breathe more efficiently, especially at higher altitudes. They could literally fly across entire continents without needing to stop for a break. Obviously, pterosaurs didn't have engines or radar systems, but they had something even better: millions of years of evolutionary fine-tuning. For example, their ability to soar effortlessly on thermals is something engineers are still trying to replicate in drones and unmanned aircrafts. Plus, their quadrupedal launch technique is so efficient that some researchers are studying it to improve drone takeoff designs. So yeah, while the F-35 might win in terms of firepower, pterosaurs definitely had the edge when it came to natural flight techniques. But here's the thing, pterosaurs weren't all about soaring. Some species were built for speed and agility. Smaller pterosaurs, like the ones that hunted insects or fish, had shorter wingspans and more maneuverable bodies. They could dart through forests, skim over water, and chase down prey with lightning-fast reflexes. It's like they had different models for different missions. One for long-range and cruising, and another for quick precision flying. And let's not forget about landing. You might think about landing that creature, about the size of a Quetzalcoatlus, would be a disaster waiting to happen, but they had it all figured out. They used their hind legs and wings to slow down gradually, almost like parachuting in for a soft touchdown. So when you put it all together, their wing structure, launch mechanics, lightweight bodies, and adaptability, it's no wonder they ruled over the skies for over 160 million years. They were the ultimate flying machines, perfectly engineered by nature to dominate their environments. And honestly, the more you learn about them, the harder it is to not see them as the fighter jets of the prehistoric world. Because of that, there was such a big deal in the grand scheme of evolution. For example, if we look back at their hollow bones, they had these internal struts that had reinforced them, just like we do today with our frames, making them strong enough to handle the stresses of flight. It's like nature's version of engineering genius. Moreover, it wasn't just their physical features that made them stand out, but also their adaptability. They came in all shapes and sizes, from tiny insect hunters to massive soaring giants. This diversity gave them an edge in different environments, allowing them to thrive in everything from tropical jungles to icy plains. They were also active players in their ecosystems. Some were apex predators, snatching up small dinosaurs or fish with their sharp beaks. Others might have scavenged, cleaning up carcasses left behind by larger predators. Either way, they played a crucial role in keeping the food chain pretty balanced. That being said, the world of pterosaurs we know is just the tip of the iceberg. For example, some of them had colorful feathers, but we're still debating whether they were for insulation, display, or even camouflage. Yet, a brightly colored giant soaring through the sky would have been a pleasant sight. And then there's the question of their social behaviors. Were they solitary hunters, or did they live in groups? Fossil evidence from plains like Brazil indicates that some species might have nested together in colonies, much like modern seabirds. but we have no idea about their intelligence or communication. But still, the next time you look up at the sky, think about these ancient giants that once ruled it and how far we've come since then. If you're curious about prehistoric creatures or want to explore more about dinosaurs, birds, or even early mammals, let me know in the comments. Maybe we'll tackle one of these topics in a future video. Until then, stay curious and into the wild past.